Hey, how is everyone doing? Welcome back to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. And do you know what? We're almost on the verge of having to revisit a phrase that we coined a few months ago. Welcome back to your isolation station, because tomorrow in the UK we go back into lockdown. But have no fear, the scoop is going to keep you busy. What is the scoop, you say? Well, my name is Graham. This is Bibby, and our matching Ice Cream Uploads esports jerseys. Those two. Welcome back. We are obviously Ice Cream Uploads. I mean, that's what you kind of get when you wear a jersey with that's the Corsair logo. That one, Ice Cream Uploads logo. So that's what you get when you wear this. Anyway, welcome in. This is the Scoop, your daily dose of news from the world of video games and beyond. And some people, us, may say the number one's UK video game podcast. And you know, I wouldn't argue. I would not argue. As mentioned, my name is Graham. This is Bibby. And we're going to give you our thoughts and impressions on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games today. And we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions as we give them in the show. If you are live here right now on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads, it is 10 a.m. ish. It's actually 10:52. It's close-ish. It's still within the 10. Anyway, we go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. ish. So if you are in the chat, please do feel free to get involved. A lot of you do every day, and we really appreciate it, because we turn this into a podcast, a video for YouTube, and an audio podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So if you are in the chat, please use your voice on behalf of everyone listening and watching on demand. Speaking about being on demand, that's you, baby. Hey, how's things?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm extremely tired, but yeah, I'm good. I'm fit. I'm tired, but I'm feeling fresh. I don't know how that works, but I'm feeling a bit alert, but I'm also feeling tired. I could definitely go to sleep now if I close my eyes, but I'm ready for the day.
Just want to point out that, I mean, clearly I'm tired because Gagad has already corrected me. We're about 3 seconds into the show and we've already got a correction. Good morning, gents. It's, the UK is not locking down, just England. All right, calm down, Gagad. God. Good point, though. Good point. Madge saying, is that a liquor? Yeah, we don't get that anymore. We don't get that anymore. Yeah. That's the downside.
Well, that's one thing that I do miss. I do not miss, sorry.
Yeah, when you guys don't get my shit all the time. You get it when I'm live on air, but before we go live, me and Bib are obviously talking about the news and the content and what order and so on, and then we start the countdown. So as it's going for you guys, we naturally listen to it as it comes down, and we used to get to the, is that the liquor? Oh, and I naturally I started off at that level. Oh, but after about 12 months of doing the scoop, it's progressed to yeah. So he gets that sort of shit every morning. He doesn't get that anymore. He gets it for other stuff, but not that anymore. Dr. Bib respect tired, but feeling fresh. Think about it. He's tired, but he's still fresh. Think about it.
We'll take it.
I'm like Bibby most days. If I close my eyes, I'm sleeping. Oh, see, that's me until it's bedtime. I go to bed and it's like, bing. This is where we wake up. And I find myself jumping through Twitch, trying to watch something, thinking I'll just go to sleep with it on. Some days I can go to sleep with Twitch on. Some days it's like, my brain's like, no, we will listen to everything and stay attuned to it so we can listen to absolutely everything that happens and we won't fall asleep. So then I turn Twitch off, and then my brain's like, no, we're still not going to sleep. We're just going to lie here in the dark. Have fun. So no. So that's why I lead to being tired. Anyway, enough about being tired. Good morning on the golf course, babe.
You fucker. So, quick story. Last night I was contemplating. I had every intention this morning of going out and playing golf, but I was also going to take my phone with me so I can stream. I bought the stuff to be able to stream on the golf course now to a okay degree. I haven't got anything that's super expensive that I can like stick into the ground so if wind comes it doesn't blow over. I haven't got something super expensive, so it's literally just going to be my phone on the course. Woke up. I'm not going to go into the whole details, but my alarm went off this morning, looked out the window, pissing it down. Set it for another hour, looked out the window, it's pissing it down. So the chance of me going out today was slim to fuck all. Got to 8 o'clock, it's actually pretty decent. It's now raining again, but I had every intention. It's my last day to be able to go out and play, and as of about 3:30 today, it's going to be pitch black, so I think I'm just going to be buying air balls or whatever they are, the wind balls for the back garden, just smacking it against the window for the next month or so. Truly devastating.
So Bibby's going to be smacking his balls off in the back garden for the next month or so.
Yeah.
New neighbours, enjoy! Gary says Bibby's been cleaning the Lambo this morning. That's what it is.
Obviously.
Madge says into REM sleep, REM sleep by the way, but only halfway to rest. Pog! Anyway, let's jump in. That's enough sleep chat. Let's jump in. Let's jump in. We have a few stories for you today, so we'll try keep the pace going. We've got 5, so we'll try keep the pace going through them. But you know what we like here on the Scoop. We tend to ramble quite a bit. That's good. That's good. It's nice to go off topic. Speaking of rambling quite a bit, we did have a comment on YouTube yesterday. So if you are watching this on YouTube, please feel free to get involved in the comments down below. We do respond to the comments as I can't remember the name of the dude that said yesterday. I did respond to it though, but he said basically the title is too long. People aren't gonna want to read all of that. The title was 15 words. I get the point that short and snappy is good, but if someone's not got the patience to read 15 words, they're not going to sit through 60 to 80 minutes of podcast videos.
It's called For Real.
Yeah.
Or she's called For Real. Or they are called For Real. We could be here forever, but yeah, For Real is the name of the person.
So For Real, we appreciate the comment. I get the sentiment. In a YouTube context, less is more. I get that. But this is a live streamed audio podcast and video podcast that's filmed live on Twitch, so we need to get the point across. The point is, if we're too brief, you don't get the message. So yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you for the comment. We genuinely appreciate it. But yeah, if someone's not going to read 50 words, they're not going to watch 80 minutes. So yeah, anyway, buckle yourselves in. Another 80 minutes to go. Nice. First story of the day. This one is written by Steph Nunneley at VGC. VG247 even, and it's just not going to show up on screen. Nice, lovely. Clicked it about an hour ago, whatever. Okay, off, on. Why are you not sure? What?
Is it on his ass?
It looks like it. Okay, off. Okay. Baby, tell me something about stuff. Nice.
So yeah, podcast today. Lockdown later on this evening. Is anybody having any last second meals? Like me and Samantha have got a table booked at the prestigious Village Hotel in Hyde. Anyone who knows what that is, it's not prestigious in any way, shape, or form. It's quite nice now. But we're gonna go for something to eat later on tonight for the last time as we leave our houses, which is slightly depressing, but an obvious necessity. Is that enough filler?
No, my.
Okay.
Capture
browser is
not working.
So has anybody got any lockdown games? I'm gonna beat this fucking horse to death. But
there we go.
Has anyone bought it? Okay, yay!
Just had to kill and reopen the source. There we go. Hey, I've got my hands up in the air, but you can't see it because it's the one time I'm actually looking at the camera and I'm off screen. Fuck's sake. Anyway, there we go. Steph Nunneley at VG247 says Days Gone on PS5 will feature up to 60 FPS in dynamic 4K. Apologies for the wait, but we got there eventually. So Days Gone on PS5 will run in dynamic 4K up to 60 FPS, according to Ben Studio. Along with the news of how Days Gone will run on PS5, it was also announced that the game will save transfers between PS4 and PS5. This is good news, as you will be able to pick up where you left off on PS4. I love that. I'm still not going to start on my PS4. I'm going to wait for the PS5. But still, the idea is good. Ben Studios 2019... start that again, sorry, burping as you do, nice. Ben Studios 2019 title finds you facing down hordes of undead, in brackets freakers, which are meandering through the post-apocalyptic world while riding around on your motorbike. You play the role of former outlaw biker Deacon St. John, a bounty hunter who will scavenge through abandoned settlements for equipment to craft valuable items and weapons. You can also interact with other survivors in the game. Days Gone was recently added to PlayStation Now and will be available on the service until January the 5th. So, some may have thought its days had gone, but they're actually back. Days Gone will get 4K, dynamic 4K, and up to 60 FPS on the PS5. Bib! Thoughts? Have you played Days Gone? Would this make you play?
I haven't played Days Gone. It's 110%. I mean, when I first saw this game, there was only one person that I thought of that this game was absolutely directed at, and can you name that person, Graham?
No.
He's a subscriber to this channel.
I don't know. We've got thousands, hundreds of thousands of them. I mean,
Okay, he has a bald head and a long ginger beard.
Bibby after a shave on top. Are we talking about Spike?
We are talking about Spike. Yeah, when this game got marketed, as soon as I seen biker, bald head, and fighting zombies, there was only one person that I thought of, and that was Spike, and he absolutely adores this game. It's a game that, on paper, technically, I should absolutely love as well, and I haven't picked up. The average price of this now is about 15 quid. So if this is one of them games that you absolutely want to play and haven't done, like myself, I probably will be picking this up now. I know it's going to have all the updated visuals for free. It doesn't mention anywhere that they're going to be payable. 15 quid, and you're getting technically a PS5 game if it's being dynamically upscaled and the frame rate is going to increase. It's an absolute bargain. It's definitely one that I would like to be able to get back into.
I mean, that technically PS5 game statement is pretty much nail on the head as well. I mean, you will look at a PS5 game and you're probably not going to see that much difference between a PS4 and a PS5 game. And I'm saying that a bit like simplistically. You will see differences, obviously, but the jump from generation to generation is much smaller now in terms of the overall package. We're at a point where the amount of pixels and polygons in one character is different. So it's not like Mario on the NES going to the SNES, which was a significant jump. Then going from like 16-bit consoles to the PlayStation generation, for example, huge jump. And then going from PS2 to and so on, so on, so on. Now you don't see that level of significance in jump. So if you've got a game like Days Gone that was at the top end of the PS4 generation in terms of life cycle, and you didn't play it, and you then get that with 60 FPS and dynamic 4K, it pretty much will be a next-gen game. Obviously, it's not going to be entirely the same, but it will benefit from the hardware, so it will have faster loading times. Not that Days Gone is known for having any major loading times anyway, but everything will just be better. So that is the one thing that I tend to say I'm not asked about backwards compatibility, and I'm not. Generally, I'm not. Bibby absolutely would love the idea of backwards compatibility. The Xbox Series X playing all the Xbox games, that is a huge selling point for Bibby. Yeah. For me, that's not kind of something that's relevant, but I forget about backwards compatibility in a more recent context. And I say that I haven't forgotten about it. I've got pretty much all of the PlayStation Plus collection. So if you don't know what that is, PlayStation's main titles on the PS4, a number of them like the likes of Uncharted 4, plus some games that aren't PlayStation specific. I think there's a few Square Enix ones and stuff in there, and maybe Horizon, God of War, those kind of games will be free to play on PS5, and they will all feature benefits of moving to that next generation. So there is. I kind of ignore backwards compatibility, but that is what that is. But it's building them for the future. So I'm very, very much. I've kind of ignored any of that talk until now. Now we're at the point where I'm actually considering what we're going to play. So we we will get our consoles like 2 weeks tomorrow, unless you're in America, a week tomorrow.
Not jealous at all.
Yeah, fucker. So we'll start. Unless you're an Xbox user, then you'll get them in 6 days' time. Then yeah, nice, enjoy. But yeah, we'll get the consoles 2 weeks tomorrow, and is it 2 weeks? Yeah, it's 2 weeks tomorrow. Okay, got there. Fine, nice. So we'll get them 2 weeks tomorrow, and we will have more games, next gen games that I know they're not next gen games, but they're pretty much there, which is now starting to excite me. I think we're at that point where it's so close we can almost smell it, as it was said yesterday in that news article, which is ridiculous. But there you go.
Awful.
As someone said in the chat, out of all of the sensors, I think it was it Samaldo? Out of all of the sensors, they go with smell. So close you can touch it, so close you can see it, so close you can taste it. Oh, you can even hear it. Well, you can hear the current gen anyway. As soon as I turn my PlayStation on, anyone can hear that one. But smell? Oh, that smells like an Xbox. Oh, yes. Anyway, let's jump back through the chat quickly because it has popped a little bit. Chances are you're never getting an early round in locally, always fucking pissing it down.
Yeah, in the morning, but the afternoon, like over lockdown and that, getting out at 12:30, 1 o'clock, it's just been glorious. Like the weather's been so good. I think overall this year the weather has actually been pretty decent if you look at the year as a whole. But yeah, it gets into winter, you've got no chance.
Good comment from Madge saying this is about the pre-talk, so this isn't on the Days Gone 4K Facelift. We were talking about how one of the comments on YouTube was saying that our title was too long, and Madge says if the video is titled A, as in just a letter, I'm not sure how that helps, Kappa. That's the point. The video title was, I suppose, in the context of YouTube, a little bit long, but it was literally along the lines of Game UK can confirm that it will have in-store stock at launch, or something along those lines. One sentence: game can't confirm it will have stock at launch. That sort of idea. I mean, if you take anything out of that, if you take game out of it, well, that's the subject, so you can't really get out of it. If you take stock out of it, that's what we're talking about. At launch, okay, that's the time that we're talking about it in. Can't confirm, I mean, that's the point of it. The whole kind of sentence is needed, really, so what do we take out of that sentence there?
I mean, I should have gone with game steals your consoles, question mark, exclamation mark.
Oh my god! Like Kevin from Home Alone emoji.
Yeah. Well, we should just put that like game in the background. I mean, you like on the front of the thumbnail, and then it would have been an absolute banger. But
game with a swag bag over the shoulder, black and white striped top kind of thing, like the Hamburglar mask kind of thing from McDonald's. Yeah, that's what we need.
The world's on its ass, Graham, because no one wants context anymore. They just want to take everything at face value.
Mike says, "I've not been out for food or booze in 7 months." You've not been out for food or booze in 7 months?
That's rough.
Go, grab yourself a butty. Go on, get it on us. Get it on us. Yeah. Oh, pot noodles. That's why pot noodle live.
Pot noodle boys. Let's go.
Gary says, "Does that restaurant back onto a golf course by any chance?"
No, unfortunately not.
But he also then follows that up with 30 frames gone. Hey. Get some luminous golf balls and sneak out late at night.
You see, I would love, like in Dubai, they have 24-hour golf. They've got floodlights on the golf course. I think that is an amazing idea, and it looks stunning. But I thought this is a multi-million-dollar idea, by the way. Glow-in-the-dark golf. So the trees have all glow-in-the-dark paint on. The green round the outside has glow-in-the-dark paint on. The pole is glow-in-the-dark, and so is the balls. How amazing would that be? You've just basically stolen the idea of the crazy golf in Manchester, and then like just put that on a golf course. I'm not going to say I'm yard golf. That's like it. That, just a little bit better. I see what you're doing. Yeah, we should call it yard junk golf. Yeah, completely different thing. Morning, Baxter. Hey, welcome in, dude. He says, good to see you guys on, as I wanted to ask your opinion on if you think the next-gen Xbox systems will finally make option files for PES possible. Gary says, not on Xbox, as they have a locked system. See, I would say PlayStation has a locked system as well. So technically, you'd feel in that sort of sense, it's not impossible in theory. But yeah, I think it's impossible. I mean, the main reason for that is the Xbox system is pretty much the same system that exists in terms of the dashboard and the whole user interface and all of that sort of stuff. It's all based on the same system that is on the current gen. They have evolved their system, whereas PlayStation has ripped up the script and give you something completely new. So if Microsoft were ripping up the script and giving you something completely new, then I'd be more open to the potential of that being available. But because it's the same system, I can't see that changing, which is, as you said, such a shame, which is a genuine shame, because it kind of cripples PES on Xbox, but it also pretty much makes PES not really a viable option for people playing on Xbox that want the same level of immersion. If gameplay is all you're interested in, that's fine. But if you want that level of immersion of kits and stuff, and it is important, it clearly is important to us, because, nice little plug, after this we are going to have Masters of the League, which is our PES Master League. It's on PC, and the reason for it being on PC is because we can add in not just kits, but new trophies, new entrance scenes, new videos, new scoreboards, new graphics, new stadiums, new tattoos, new player faces, all stuff that doesn't matter in a game of football, but matters in terms of football immersion. So, yeah, it's not important, but it's definitely important, is the gist of it. And could it be possible? Yes. Do I think it would be possible? No. I'm going to say, could it be possible? Yes. I mean, in theory, yes, but do I think it would be possible? No. Nah. Gary says, I never played Days Gone on the PS4, so I'm excited to play it on the PS5. And for free, sort of. Yes, nice. I mean, I have it for the PS4, and I also haven't played it on the PS4, so I will probably not play on the PS5, because that's what I do. West, good morning, dude. He said, glad I'm not late-ish. Sure, ish vibes. Mike says, I'm feeling a bit peckish. Hey, I'm surprised we've never had this before. Biker, bald head, ginger beard, that could either be Skull or 8-Ball from DOA of the old faction days of WF. Wow, Skull and 8-Ball. Damn. I'm having ish and chips tonight.
I'm going to fix myself ish, says Mike. Hey. Pot Noodle Boys is going to become a thing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We need a Top Golf here just for Bibby. Which one's Top Golf? Is that the one that's like the one that they turned into like a video game sort of thing? Where
there is two already in the UK, but they're
like
down
Watford
south.
or something like that. Like
Yeah, one's in Watford, and I can't remember where the other one is. Is it maybe Reading? I'm not sure. But yeah, apparently it's really expensive as well. Apparently it's like £8 for 25 balls, which is super expensive. The driving range around here, you can get 120 balls for £8. So yeah, I mean, obviously it is a video game setting at the same time, but can't really be tuning yourself up at Top Golf. Albeit it would be amazing to be able to experience it, and I probably would drop about a ton on it. But
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, golf is more of a rich man's sport than most sports are anyway. So you get a rich man's sport and then you bundle that in with novelty. You always pay for novelty. Surely, yeah, it's £8 for like one ball. Let's go. What? No, you're all right.
I'd still turn up with all my clubs.
Gaga said, should I take extra pleasure from football training on Sunday evening? In what context? It depends. Don't take too much pleasure from it because, you'll get some funny looks.
Context. That's why it's important.
Yeah, that's the downside of having a Twitch chat where we jump backwards and forwards across the stories and the intros and stuff. You could be talking about something we've just said, forgotten it already. Back says, thanks for answering, lads. Tempted to go for the PS5, however, I'm so drawn to Football Manager on the new Xbox. I don't... If you're just thinking PES... and it's the only game you play, then I would say get the PS5. If you have more games you play, and everything you have is on the Xbox and you people are playing on Xbox, then I would say obviously that gives you kind of a stronger push towards Xbox then. The downside is if you haven't got the PS5 now, it's going to be a very difficult slog for you to get that on launch anyway. So in that sort of sense, I mean, you'll probably have a little bit more time to make up your mind. I genuinely don't see anything changing for PS5 though in terms of the option file stuff. I don't know that from an official standpoint. That's not official messaging. I just genuinely don't see that changing.
I mean, if you're just playing PES, if you buy a console just to play PES, then yeah, I don't think Xbox would be the one. But if you, like Graham said, if you play any other game, then it's having the kits and the team names a priority. Probably not in that sense. No, not when you've got Games Pass and that's available to you on the Xbox. I think the PES part would just be a drop in the ocean if it isn't your main game and you just play it, I don't know, at your weekend or something. But yeah, in terms of everything else, yeah.
I mean, if you're playing it online and you're playing it with friends and so on, then there's a huge reason to move to PlayStation there. If that's your main game, because you'll have a much better online environment on PlayStation, there'll be more active users and so on than you will have on Xbox, and there's all that sort of to consider. I wouldn't usually recommend buying a console specifically for one game or for features within a game, unless it is your main game and then you get the value for money out of it. But that's all it comes down to. It's individual perception of value. If you feel that you're going to get the time out of it, I mean, you've got 7 years of playing PES on that console, then if you're going to be playing PES pretty much every day or most of the days for every year when it comes out, then the PS5 will still be a good option, even on top of the Xbox. But it depends on how much flexible income you have and where you put the hours into it and how much you value that time. It's only you can really say that, but there's definitely nothing wrong with getting a PS5. It's just a matter of, like you say there, I'm drawn to Football Manager and the new Xbox as well. So you got that. I mean, that's not going to be on PS5-ish. It's not been confirmed that it's not, but obviously Miles from SI has said that Xbox made them an offer and started a conversation. Doesn't mean that PlayStation won't, but for launch it's not going to be there. Good morning, Tharian Drake. Hey.
Morning, mate.
Just want to shout out Mr. Tharian Drake as well. Nice supporter of the channel. He's always in the stream, dropping raids and hosts on us. Obviously, call live messages in the Discord as well, very active. And absolutely killing it with Conqueror's Blade at the moment. Every time we look into your channel, your views are going up. So GG, Mr. Tharian Drake. Good morning. Gary says, proves how much I know. Bibby says there is Top Golf in Reading, and I live in Reading. It might not be Reading, but it's somewhere. It could be.
I know there's definitely one in Watford. I know that, and I'm sure there's one right next to it as well. So yeah, I'm sure it's around there.
Mike says, I go to Adlington for my golf, usually, or Trafford driving range. Gagad says, as in I'll be able to go to football training here in Scotland. Ah, okay, I get you now. As in take pleasure at laughing at us because the UK isn't in lockdown and England is. Fuck you. I mean, no. Enjoy. Expect selfies. Feel free to tag them in at Ice Cream Uploads on Twitter with extra lols. It's fine. We will share. With much grievance, it's fine. Baxter says, Legends best jump off and clean the house before the missus comes over. Chat soon.
I do that so many times. Like, oh shit, she's coming home in 10 minutes. Wait until she wants me to go get the Uber out. I'm going to be quiet now. She might be in the next room. Don't want to give all my best tips away.
We appreciate the fact that we come before the missus and cleaning. So cheers, cheers. Tharian Drake says Switch drops is helping that, but once they're done on the 7th, I'll love to raid you again. Hey, thank you very much, dude. Thank you very much. But yeah, if you're in the chat, feel free to drop a follow on Tharian Drake. Like I say, good guy. Anyway, one of the questions that was just asked is it worth getting a PS5? Obviously, the context of that question was regarding PES. Is it worth it? Yeah, I suppose it is. But if you're still not sure, how about we give you a little bit more reasons of why you could potentially get a PS5. This is an article written by Mariella Moon at Engadget. First time featured on the scoop, so well done, Mariella. You've achieved something not a lot of people have. DualSense teardown exposes the gears behind Sony's adaptive triggers. It also shows that the controller has a bigger battery, motherboard, and haptic motors than its predecessor. So jumping into the article, it says, one of the PS5's most intriguing features is its controller's capability to make you feel various in-game scenarios with its adaptive triggers. Now, Tronics Fix has pulled a DualSense controller apart. That's a YouTuber, by the way. I think it is. Let me just double check. Yes. Has pulled a DualSense controller apart to give us a look at how its adaptive triggers would work and at the device's other inner components. The teardown video shows how the trigger system uses several gears to change its resistance, allowing it to simulate different sensations, such as the feeling of drawing a bow or of using a jammed weapon. See, I love that sentence, but I'm now at the point where if anyone tells me that a haptic figure can draw a bow, again, I am literally going to hit you with my haptic controller. Because what else can you do with it? But I get it. Okay, that's the only thing we know. We still haven't had it yet. But anyway, I'll move on. Aside from giving us a glimpse of the complex trigger mechanism, the teardown also compares the controller to DualShock 4. The video shows that DualSense has a bigger battery compared to its predecessor, most likely to be able to support its more advanced haptics. DualSense's haptic motors, motherboard, and chips are larger as well, which doesn't come as a surprise given the controller's more immersive haptic feedback. Its buttons have a dual cushioning system not found in previous controllers. The PlayStation team used the same analog sticks found in the DualShock 4 though, and as Tronics Fix notes, that means they could also be susceptible to drift issues. The DualSense's adaptive triggers and advanced haptic feedback can provide a deeper feeling of immersion its predecessors weren't capable of. In a recent interview, Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan said haptic feedback, along with other technologies like 3D audio, could take immersiveness to the next level in the hands of great game developers. Nice, Bib. DualSense teardown, thoughts?
Yeah. Well, these are all buzz marketing words in my eyes because I haven't actually held the controller yet. I don't know what these feel like compared to a PlayStation 4 controller. So at the moment, these are all kind of, yeah, they are buzzwords for me. They're marketing tools to be able to say these are much, much better than your PlayStation 4 controller. Expect a better experience with your PlayStation 5 one. That is as far as I've got from this. I'm not as much as I think I'm in the tech world when it comes to new features like this. I am absolutely not. So yeah, I mean, until I get my hands on it, I'll be very interested to see what it is. Amazingly, they've already said that this could come with drift issues. We'll see how long it takes for that kind of thing, because obviously Nintendo just buying controllers that doesn't have anything in there really that prevents drifting. So is technology getting that advanced now that it's prone to more errors? I think that kind of goes hand in hand, don't you think?
Maybe. I may or may not have been trying to subscribe because I've just seen Tharian Drake. He has a sub badge next to his name. I don't know if you sub then, Tharian, because I didn't get any notification or alert or anything coming up, and I realised that I have my Twitch Prime, so I thought I'll go in and hit sub, and it hasn't changed anything for me.
No, it didn't do that. It don't think it did that with the time before last either. I think because if you're using your Twitch Prime, I think before your actual monthly subscription is due, I think the Twitch Prime is every 28 days, but I think it lasts a month on Twitch. So if you're like a 2 days early, I don't think it shows up. Do you know what I mean?
Stay frosty, yeah.
Well, mine just worked. There we go.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, log out. Log back in as Ice Cream Uploads. Do you have? I'm logging back in now. Do you have the feed up? Has it said anything about? Has mine shown? Does it say anything about Tharian as well?
No.
Okay, just checking. Just didn't want to. I just didn't want it to be a case of I'd missed something. If we have missed anything, Tharian, just let us know, and we'll obviously give you the natural showers. But
to be fair, you've just done that, and the subscriber count hasn't gone up. It stayed the exact same. It's still on 35.
Nice. Okay. Anyway, sorry, distracted. Back in the room. Sorry, what was the question that you asked at the end of your thoughts on the DualSense?
With technology getting to such an advanced stage now, we've just seen Nintendo come out of a court battle for drifting issues. Someone in the article itself, it said that this controller may be prone to drifting issues somewhere down the line. Have we got to a point now where the technology is that good inside the controller that it just doesn't last as long? Like, if I get my PS2 controller out now, I can still play with that, and that controller is 20 years old. Absolutely no problem. Still works like a dream. It has obviously weathered a little bit, so the buttons are a little bit more spongy than they should be. However, the controller itself, the analog sticks, all work perfectly fine. Is there too much technology in the controller now for it to become redundant faster?
I think that's always going to be an issue. You'll have it with. It's like the car sort of scenario. Anyone that's had a car, if you had like my first car, technically my first car was a Nosti Metro that I bought for like 25 quid a million years ago. I never drove it, but technically the first car that I drove and owned was Ford Fiesta, 2003 plate, really good car, lasted forever. I may have had electric windows, I think. It was nice. Job was good. Next car, a nice TDI VW Passat. So big change in terms of size of car. It had electronic handbrake. It had push button. It had like a smart key and everything. And I was like, oh my god, the upgrade from Fiesta with wheels to a Passat with everything. Yeah, nice. I've gone for all the the executive level VW kind of stuff. Okay, nice. But when something goes wrong, it goes wrong and it costs you a shitload of money. But not only does it go wrong, there is more potential for it to go wrong. When you've got more electronics and more moving parts, there is more room for error. So there definitely is more room for error in controllers. The one thing I would say, though, in contrast to that, is the comment that you're talking about. It says the PlayStation team used the same analog sticks found in the DualShock 4, though, and as Tronics Fix notes, that means they could also be susceptible to drift issues. I've never had drift issues on a PS4 controller, so I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I mean, I've never had a conversation about drift on the DualShock 4. I've had conversation about drift on Nintendo Switch. I bought a Switch and had drifting issues within 30 minutes, and the only reason it was 30 minutes is because that's how long it took me to fire up the console and put in my details and then start using it, and it was broken, so I had to take it back. And obviously there's class action lawsuits on that, and the same with the Xbox Elite controllers. I'm not saying it doesn't happen on PlayStation, but I've never known it to be a prevalent thing. It probably does happen. The fact it's been mentioned in this makes me feel like it could be, but that's not my issue. If I'm buying a DualSense controller, I'm not thinking, oh god, I hope the sticks don't drift, because I've never been presented with that. I'd be more likely to think, okay, this is the first controller that I've bought on this console, and it's early in the life cycle. I hope the sticks don't deteriorate in terms of the rubber bits fall off, because that happened last generation. If we're talking about sticks, that's where my worries are, not in that sort of sense. I mean, what about you guys? Have any of you guys had any issues with stick drift on the PS4? Gary says, I really hope we don't get drifting on the DualSense. The Joy-Cons are awful for drifting issues. Yeah, exactly. So Nintendo Joy-Cons, the conversation is there, but I've never known the conversation be there for the DS4s. Gary says, I've never had drift issues on the DS4 either. The only issues I've had with them is the launch controllers has softer rubber on the sticks and they peeled it off. Yeah, the same. That's the bit I was talking about then. That stopped when Sony changed the rubber on the sticks. When it became a bit more rigid and it didn't fall to bits, yeah. I have an old controller, which I don't use, but the new ones, yeah, they're all fine, perfectly fine. And that's what, if we're talking about issues with sticks on controllers, that's what comes to mind for me, because drift on a DS4 has never been a conversation I've had. David says, I've understood haptic feedback. I've never understood haptic feedback. To me, it's just drawing a bow, buzz. I'm opening a door, buzz. I'm punching a zombie, buzz. It's so realistic. Buzz,
Yeah.
buzz. I mean, I get the haptic feedback on the triggers. So basically what they're saying is, that's a bit of product placement for Scuff. Today's show sponsors, by the way, GG Scuff. If you want to buy your Scuffs, then use the... when you get to the checkout, use the code Bibby is a Willy. That's Bibby is a Willy. This is where Scuff's like analytics department are going, why the fuck are so many people typing Bibby is a Willy at checkout? What the fuck is this? But yeah, the haptic feedback, you pull the trigger down as you're drawing a bow and it gets more difficult just in terms of you pulling a bow and the string gets harder. I get it. The visual metaphor, lovely. I'm pulling back on the bow. It's like, okay, I'm pulling back on the bow. I get it. I understand the imagery in my mind. Wonderful. But what else? What else? Why would I want the stick to get harder? I get if your gun misfires, your trigger might go and stop, so you have to let go of it. Okay, that's nice. That's a different image in my mind now. I've not had that one before. But what else? What else? And it's one of those things. I need answers to a question, but we can't get answers to the question until it's out. Until we have developers and working on SDKs, trying new things and giving new reasons and using these things in different ways, it won't change. So for the majority of things, it's just going to be R2, L2, da-da. But yeah, I want to know what it could be. And that's kind of thing. We're on the precipice of the new generation, and we're talking about the new generation. But while Sony doesn't necessarily give us the new generation, just like Xbox doesn't. What they do is give us the tools for developers to give us the new generation. They just provide the platform. It's the developers and the games that give us the experiences and what that is going to be. And I think we just need more time with that sort of stuff. I have the Xbox One with 3 controllers. I have on the Xbox One with 3 controllers. But you've got drift on all 3 controllers? Ouch. Okay, yeah, that's a bit painful. I mean, yeah. I realise that I have quite a lot.
Ones?
Yeah, that's a good question. The first party, and are we talking like standard controllers or elite controllers or a bit of both?
Mad Cats.
Yeah, Mad Cats.
They're always the ones that come into it. Me and you had this conversation a couple of years ago about Mad Cats always being the kind of control that you'd wait for your brother to come play on or your mate to come round so they get the shitter pad, you get the first party one, they get the Mad Cats.
I remember me and David on the SNES bought a controller from Argos, and we did the standard thing when you're about 12 years old and you're paying it with your pocket money. Okay, it's like 25 quid or whatever for the SNES controller, and it's like 12 quid for the Mad Catz controller that looks exactly the same and does the same thing. Oh, I'm going to go for that. And then you realise that you buy the SNES controller and the buttons on it are kind of like... I mean, I'm going to hold it close to the camera, but you're not going to be able to see it, so I don't know why I'm going to bother. But anyway, the buttons are rounded and smooth, so if your finger like slides off the edge of it, it's like, oh, it's just off the button. It's just off the button. The Mad Catz controller, though, the edges of the buttons were literal razors. You start trying to slide your fingers across it. It might like playing track and field where you've got to slide your fingers across stuff. No, that's pretty much like just having a bunch of knives and sliding your finger across the top of it. Ah!
Yeah.
No. So yeah. Shout out to Mad Catz, by the way, who also sponsored this podcast. I mean, to be fair, we've mentioned them on like 3 podcasts in a row now, so we absolutely need to get the Mad Catz on the way. I mean, they're probably not going to be interested after the way we've kind of been slandering them bringing it down. But you know what, Mad Catz, actually,
they know their own brand. You know what I mean? They know that they are a Player 2 controller.
All I'm going to say is,
market themselves anywhere else.
A redemption story is one of the best tools for marketing. So if Mad Catz, if you can change our opinions, you can change anyone's. So if you want to drop that big fat hashtag ad, then that's fine. That's fine. Shaw says, I've had drift on one of my PS4 pads, a gifted one, mind you, but a DS4 nonetheless. So it definitely happens then. I mean, I think we can probably gather from that, and the fact it's in the article means it's a thing, but I think from our own little echo chamber of feedback, it's not as widespread. As soon as we mention drifting, everyone goes, Joy-Cons, because we all know. As soon as we mention drifting, probably less people, but enough people then go, yeah, Xbox, yeah. But less, even more, say about the DS4. So I will go into the DS5, or the DualSense, as it actually is, not DS5. I'll go into the DualSense with a bit of confidence that we're not going to have that. But obviously it's a new generation, it's completely new technology, so we could do. Madge says, Yongye did an excellent video trying to explain how the PS5 controller works. Oh, really?
Interesting.
have to go look into it. Does he talk about how it's like? Does he say it's like pulling back on a bow? Because if he does, then no. And the Mad Cat's...
The analogy is getting like drove into the ground, but it is the perfect analogy as it stands because we don't know anything else about it. So I like it. I like the thought because it kind of is it what you'd imagine. The longer you keep hold of it, the more resistance there is, and the more the trigger will start to move away from the back of the controller. So I do get it. It is a good analogy. But yeah,
it's very good. Talking, it was like way back in that first Spider-Man sort of like hardware reveal, long before the tech deep dive, well over a year ago. It was before we even found out what the Xbox Series X looked like. It was last year, probably March-ish last year, so 18 months. And you're kind of there thinking, oh, Horizon Zero Dawn, Aloy pulls back on a bow. Yes, it's a good metaphor. It's a good visual, like, representation. I've got the imagery in my mind, it works. But when you're just stuck with that one image that just keeps getting pedalled and pedalled and pedalled, and because it's no negative for Mariella Moon, who's written this article for Engadget, that's the only image that she's been given as well, so she can't call on anything else. So she mentions that in her article, but anyone else who's mentioning it in their article will also call back on the only information. And then that is today, but it was also the same thing a week ago when we got told that, oh, the PS5 DualSense controllers are going to be on sale early. Oh, nice. Did you know that if you pull back on the trigger, it's like pulling back on a bow? Oh, I actually did, but nice. And you go back a week before that, and it's like, oh yeah, breaking news, the PS5 Dual... Did you know it's like pulling back on... I know it's like pulling back on a bow. Give me something new. So it's my issue is not the fact it's a really good... it's really good imagery to plant in someone's mind. My issue is just that you like something so much but you hear it up. It's like having that one song that you like that's on the radio, then it's on the radio, and it's on the radio, and then that fucking song's on the radio again. This song's always on the fucking radio, and it's like that. It's, give me a different song, give me a different tune to sing to. That's good. Anyway, woosah. The Mad Catz ones were always the Player 2 pad, says Garrett. 100%. The Mad Catz Mac 3 Razer button. Also, Kevin Nash has...
had a turbo button on it. Every single one had a turbo button.
Yeah, which was, like, for some games, pants, but when you're playing Street Fighter and all of a sudden Ryu's going... It's like, what the fuck? Also, Kevin Nash already has dibs on the new generation.
Review unit provided by PlayStation. Welcome to my living room once again.
Okay. I will watch this 20-minute, so I won't watch it now, but I will watch it off air. There's the young give. Thank you very much for the link, Madge. I also need to go again, BRB-ish. No worries, thank you, dude. David says, was that one with the rotating steering wheel, as it was marketed, but turned out to be two barely raised grips around the D-pad? Yeah, that was that one. It's basically a pad, and your D-pad has a wheel around it, which is kind of a normal thing now on Xbox and stuff like that. But yeah, back then it was just really badly done and really shit. That's what you get for buying. Does you have to pack it? Aftermarket parts. Speaking of aftermarket parts, though, and this is less dodgy. Didn't tell Baby I was going to talk about it on air, but I have to talk about it before we went on air. I just had this delivered this morning. I purchased the HDMI adapter for my Astro headset. So I'm wearing Astros right now to be able to use these on the PS5. Obviously, you guys already know this isn't a spawn, by the way. This is just general knowledge from covering it in the news a few months back and wanting to be set for the next generation. I bought the HDMI adapter for my Astro headset. I mentioned on social media that I was buying it last week. It's arrived today. Nice. Yeah. If you are going to buy it, though, use the code Bibby as a Willy at the checkout, by the way. It might not work. But if you are going to buy it, my pro tip... buy yourself a pin badge. And the reason being, delivery is like 10 quid. Standard delivery. It's expensive. However, if you buy a pin badge, which is like 9 quid, you get delivered for free because it goes over a threshold for free delivery. So get a a pin badge and free delivery and save a quid rather than getting no pin badge and having to spend a quid. So there you go. Anyway, next news story. Next news story. Let's move away from PlayStation. We've been speaking and talking about PlayStation, so let's talk a little bit about Xbox instead. As Alex Calvin for VG247 says, Microsoft is boosting Xbox party chat security ahead of the Series X and S launch. So Microsoft is making changes to the security for its Xbox Party Chat. That's according to engineer Bill Ridman, who replied to a thread on Reddit as spotted by Pure Xbox. From a poster warning that players can be vulnerable to distributed denial of service, DDoS, attacks from other users via the peer-to-peer system employed on Xbox Live. This means that bad actors can bombard people's internet address with data and take them offline. Ridman posted that Microsoft is in the process of completely moving Xbox's party system to a server-based platform, which will make it much more secure. And then we have a quote within the article that says, "We know this is a problem. We're actually phasing out P2P voice connections for a party chat completely, which we've been working on quite a bit in the background to stop this very problem. We've been ramping up a larger percentage of parties to be completely server-based week over week, so you don't make direct connections to other party members so they can't see your IP, and soon should have no more P2P based parties. I've seen some concerns here as well related to parties and the mobile app. It's always been the case if you use the mobile app to join a party, the party becomes server-based and your phone's IP is never exposed to others." It sounds like this is a slow and gradual process behind the scenes at Microsoft that is ongoing, and as the company prepares to launch its brand new Xbox Series X and S consoles. As of April this year, we don't need numbers and so on. But yes, party chat security being improved. Thoughts, Bib?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much of a dog in this race, but it's weird again, isn't it? It's been picked up by Reddit. the PR stuff just doesn't seem to be there at the moment. Something as quite as confidential, shall we say, as this, and for a huge security risk. It's interesting that again someone's managed to find it in a Reddit comment rather than it being part of your promotion. I think being secure is an absolute priority, especially if you are, for instance, you would obviously like to know. I don't have any children, but you'd like to know Chloe's safe when she's online. So for parents buying their children the new consoles and stuff like that, you'd like to know that everything's cool, everything's secure. Again, it's a weird message to send out over Reddit.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just dilution. I think they want to dilute their messaging. So rather than it being so complex in terms of new console, I mean, I'm saying dilute the messaging, making it complex. This is the platform that has the Xbox Series X and One X that both come in boxes, and it's just like, okay, yeah, I'm already confused. So maybe they don't want to dilute the platform messaging any further and just leaving all of that stuff out and saying, okay, all you need to know is it's getting better. The next generation is better, ta-da! And rather than going into that sort of stuff. But yeah, it does look a little bit odd when you are starting to get information out of direct contact. So that it's not information they're withholding, but it's just not information that they are sharing. So in the same way that Ratchet and Clank are Rift Apart, hey guys, this game that you're releasing, is it going to be on the PS4? No. Okay, well, why didn't you tell me that? Didn't ask. it's like, well, okay. It's not something that necessarily needed to be said, but it's just the fact that it hasn't been said is kind of odd. And I just without any official wording on why it wasn't mentioned, and the fact that it was freely readily available on social media when asked, it's got to be a case of messaging is already complex. There are contrasting messages. It's a new generation, but not a new generation. And Sony firmly believes in generations, but you can also play it on the last generation if you want. And Xbox just has one system that you can play on multiple generations, but actually, the older Xbox One X plays games kind of better some ways than the Series X, and it's just blah, blah. So I assume they've just decided to keep the stuff that just detracts from the headlines away from it. That said, when you're starting to hold things about security back, it instantly becomes more of a story then, because it's like, okay, you didn't mention security and you are honest about it, but you've not mentioned it. Does that mean there's been an issue? And that's when you start to get those sort of conversations like, why are they boosting the security? What has gone wrong for them need to? And it's like, nothing. There's nothing wrong with being more secure. Yeah, but they never said it. And that's where you start to get that thing in terms of, okay, you're trying to keep the messaging simple and concise and to the point of what we should be focusing on. So you don't want to water it down with security stuff, but in not watering it down, you then start to potentially make extra conversations. Yeah, so all you need to know is if you're playing games on Xbox Party Chat, It will be more secure. If it hasn't already, your chats will be server-based chats as opposed to P2P P2P conversations, so you can't get any DDoS attacks from online knobheads, because we know they exist in the world. So there you go. It actually says online knobheads here, by the way. That's in the Xbox blurb. So Bill Ridman, who's one of the engineers at Microsoft, refers to people as online knobheads. So it doesn't. I'm sorry, Bill. I'm joking. Okay, let's move ahead. Let's go into an article. Speaking about Xbox, did you know that Xbox purchased a company that makes a shitload of games, Bib?
I didn't. So yeah, enlighten me, mate.
Well, this company, you may have heard of them, is Bethesda. You may have heard of Bethesda.
Really?
Yeah, I know, there you go. Well, the chances are you may not have heard that Tom Ivan at VGC thinks that Bethesda hasn't ruled out making more multiplayer-only games. Todd Howard says Fallout 76 problems made us much better developers. So Bethesda Game Studios hasn't ruled out the possibility of creating more multiplayer-only games despite the problems that it's encountered with Fallout 76. Released in November 2018, the studio's first live service game was a baptism of fire as Bethesda failed to meet player expectations at launch and beyond. Excuse me 1 second, as I need to casually burp. Got heartburn, so I'm just struggling this morning. But anyway, it's fine. Without a doubt, we let a lot of people down. Bethesda Game Studios' Todd Howard, who oversees development of the Fallout and Elder Scrolls series, told GamesIndustry.biz. We wanted to make something different, but the audience doesn't always want something different, and that's no fault of theirs, it's totally understandable. I think maybe we did a bad job of saying how different it was going to be. The studio has worked hard to turn the game's fortunes around with a series of post-launch updates, most notably April 2020's Wastelanders expansion, which changed Fallout 76's world with the addition of human NPCs. With the game approaching the second anniversary of its release, Howard reflected, "Ultimately, despite the issues and the very well-deserved criticism we got, there were a lot of people playing. Not on the scale of a regular Fallout, but millions of people told us that there was something here, so let's keep at it. I'm hugely proud of the team who worked on the game and month after month made it better. I don't think there's a magic formula without having the discipline to go through the work. Without that community out there making this game their own and really believing in us, I don't think that we would have gotten to where we are now." So while Bethesda is currently focused on upcoming single-player RPGs The Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield, Howard said it could use its learnings from Fallout 76 to create more multiplayer-only titles in the future. Overall, it's been a really positive experience for us, he said. It's made us much better developers, much more connected with our community, so I can't say it's going to be a one-off. In September, Microsoft revealed, actually we know that, we covered that already, Microsoft bought ZeniMax, which owns Bethesda. But babe, Bethesda potentially making more multiplayer-only games? Thoughts?
Yes. I am interested to see where this goes. I'm still yet, as a Fallout fan, I'm still yet to play 76. So I do eventually. I mean, what better time than now, considering we're going to be locked in the house again for another month. So it could be that once I've done the FIFA Battle Pass for Volta, then it's kind of moving on to the next thing. I'm very, very close to finishing Mafia. Once I've done that, I was hoping to actually get into finishing Jedi Fallen Order. And then this could potentially be a game that I get back into. I was dabbling with ESO again, so I've reinstalled all the mods. So that is currently up to date, so I can literally just hop back into that. But when it comes to playing a Bethesda game, I'm just trying to think now. Obviously, Doom would be pretty good as a two-player game. Elder Scrolls, yeah, like I'd love to able. I know we've got Elder Scrolls Online, but that's where my affection is with Bethesda games. Like when I think of Bethesda, the first game that I think of, the franchise is Elder Scrolls. So I would love to be able to play Skyrim with my friends. Now I know that there is a lot of mods that that are being created via several Patreons, so you can actually jump in to play to play any kind of Elder Scrolls game, mostly Skyrim, with your friends, so you can have it as a two-player experience. I think that would be phenomenal. Whether or not that is something that they try to repatch into Skyrim, because Skyrim will never die. It's literally going to be a game that people either create new content for, create new mods, and just unlock things that are in the code that just haven't been put into the game yet. Obviously, the game, I don't want to say died, but it came out 8 years ago, so it's still going strong now. People are still playing this game. I own it on pretty much every single console that's ever came out.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. So it's one of them. I don't think it'll ever die. I think we're so far away from getting a new Elder Scrolls game that to keep people tied into it, playing Elder Scrolls Online is the best way to be able to get in between that. But Elder Scrolls Online is an MMO. The actual Skyrim is like a third-person adventure game. We'll call it just absolute top end. So if I was to choose any of them, I think the obvious one would be Elder Scrolls, but would that take away from the diehards wanting that single player experience? Because I can absolutely understand it. When you get into an Elder Scrolls game, you are in that world. Like, you are away from everything that's around you in the real world, and you're in there, you're in your fantasy world, you are 6-foot warrior, or whatever it is, or whatever class you want to be. So it's, yeah, I'm interested to see the direction that they're going to go in. When they state it like this, it sounds like it's going to potentially be another, not MMO, but something. Well, yeah, the MMO doesn't necessarily have to be a fantasy game. Fallout 76 was an MMO game, so direction-wise, I'm very interested to see where this goes. I think it could potentially be another nail in the coffin when it comes to picking off another franchise that is beloved by everyone and maybe kill it. I don't know. I'm excited to see where it goes, though.
The comment from Todd Howard says, without doubt we let a lot of people down. We wanted to make something different, but the audience doesn't always want something different. And that's no fault of theirs. It's totally understandable. I think maybe we did a bad job of saying how different it was going to be. I like that statement, that sentence. I like what he's saying there. Because it's not apologising for what they've done. It's apologising for lack of information, or not being on the same wavelength as their audience, or not allowing their audience to be on the same wavelength as them, which that is the issue. What they've done with Fallout is good in some senses. If you want another Fallout game, it's not, but what it has done is it's you kind of have to feel that this is, to use a metaphor I use all the time, a good egg to be broken, because the next part of the omelette, Fallout 77, that's not what it's going to be, obviously, but the next Fallout game is going to be more like Fallout that you know, but they will have learned a shitload of valuable information that they're not going to make them mistakes again. If they change the game and give you something that's more like Fallout 76, they're going to share that information. If they change the game again and do something completely different, they're going to make sure their community is on the same wavelength as them. If they release a game that's more like a Fallout game, so with NPCs and all the rest of the stuff, that's going to be a huge part of it. I mean, I was in the Bethesda E3 conference last year, and that's when they announced the Wastelanders expansion. And even that, the amount of passion in the room, there was news articles about the passion in the room saying the people in that room had to be plants. No one is that excited for video games. Yeah. And I'm thinking, well, the guys writing this article have clearly never been to MCM or anything like that. I mean, your top level conferences, your expos and stuff like that, if you go to the conferences, it's often full of trade and industry and enthusiast media, kind of thing like that. You don't tend to get hardcore fans in there. You go to something like an MCM, and that's a very hardcore fan sort of thing. Or obviously, the bigger versions like the San Diego Comic-Con and NYCC and things like that, then you get shitloads of extremely passionate people. If you watch the... how many times have we seen the Marvel Cinematic Universe storyline or the next phase of it being revealed, these films, and people shit themselves like, they're fucking amazing. That sort of stuff happens when you get people that are truly passionate. And seeing how passionate people were around the Wastelanders expansion bringing Fallout back was huge. Like it was so much hype. I've never seen that much in a conference that I've been in. So yeah, I think it's kind of crap for people that wanted a Fallout game in 2018 and 2019 and 2020. But when we get to 21, 22, or whenever the next one comes out, I think it will be... It's almost like people say Uncharted was amazing, but it kind of... It made Uncharted 2 possible. Assassin's Creed was good, but it made Assassin's Creed 2 possible. Not that we've never had a Fallout before, but this new version of Fallout, that is number one. The next one will be much better because of this. Doesn't surprise me that Bethesda are going to be going into more live service games, but they've shit a brick with Fallout 76, and they've learned a lot of valuable lessons for it. So you absolutely have to feel they are gonna be in a better position going forward.
Yeah.
If you make the same mistake twice, then lightning in that sort of shit sense doesn't strike twice for a company that knows what it's doing. The only caveat I would say there is there's a big change now. ZeniMax was bought out by Microsoft, which could change a lot of the decisions and so on around that. So if the people that have learned those lessons now aren't the decision makers, there could be potential for history to repeat itself. But you have to feel that it won't. Bethesda would smash it for the people that play those games.
I think the idea of the Fallout 76, I mean, I am, I don't want to say I'm a purist, but I understand wanting to have the single player experience in Fallout, whatever game it is. But I like the fact that I could have played with my friends. I just think the execution was poor, and that's the thing that they've taken ownership of, and that's all you can ask for, really. They knew that the execution was poor. They knew that people wasn't going to like it when it first came out of the box, and eventually they ended up fixing that. No Man's Sky, we use that one all the time. That is another one where they knew that the idea was fantastic, the execution was poor. Both of them now. I don't want to say Fallout 6 is absolutely the game that everyone wants it to be, because there is still a lot of shit that's going wrong with it. But ultimately, they have taken a massive step in the right direction. I just don't want them to go through the same thing again with another franchise, because Fallout 76 is near and dear to a lot of people. Fallout, is near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. If they do that kind of shit with Elder Scrolls, they aren't gonna survive.
Yeah.
And that's a bold statement to make, but Elder Scrolls for me is a AAA top tier everything. It's a franchise that's kind of untouchable. Fallout is still in that kind of same category, but well below the pecking order. So yeah, if they make the same mistakes twice, especially with Elder Scrolls, I don't think they'll survive that one.
It's like, you kind of feel that they won't as well. You have to feel it. If Microsoft have just coughed up bajillions of pounds to buy ZeniMax Media, and they're confident that they can make the money back on their own systems, even without being on PlayStation systems, whether they do or not remains to be seen. But if they're confident of doing that, one way you can't do that is by pissing everyone off and alienate all your fans. So you're buying into Bethesda because of everything that happens. Gary said in the chat, I've never been into Bethesda games myself. Nothing has ever screamed, I need to play this. That's generally my opinion. I mean, I say that, and I do have the Doomslayer helmet sat over my shoulder just there from Doom Eternal, so you know, massive sellout. I don't mind. But yeah, I generally it's the same for me. That said, it's a massive company. There's a reason it's the most expensive acquisition that video games have ever seen, is because there are a lot of people that do buy into those games. But to get that kind of money back, you need to deliver what they want. So going back to that comment that Tom Howard said, we wanted to make something different, but audiences don't always want something different. That's the key thing. If you want to make your bajillions of pounds back, then you need to be different, but you also need to be same. Not necessarily same, but different all the time. Sometimes you need just same, and sometimes you need different, and it's a matter of hitting the both. You can't force different when someone isn't ready for it. So more multiplayer games coming from Bethesda doesn't surprise me. Just needs to be done correctly, as Bibby says. If they try to change too much for all of their titles, as they've tried to do with Fallout, then they'll just get a backlash, and then suddenly Microsoft have bought themselves an absolute damn squib. But anyway, let's move forward. One final story. I mean, going from one game publisher that people might not play games to another one that's just a game series that people just genuinely aren't interested in whatsoever. Even talking about is an absolute... Oh, look at Bibby's face. There we go. No, actually... not a bad series, I suppose. Obviously, you probably guessed, being our resident president, Bibby is... That's not a political pun there, by the way. Bibby is a big fan of Resident Evil, which is what Tom Ivan has been talking about in VGC. Resident Evil's Village PS5 features have been detailed. Have you seen this article yet, Bib?
I read the majority of it this morning, but I didn't read it all. I see they put like little snippets, you know, like a tweet title, and then link you to the full article. So I thought, yeah, it'd get me excited on stream. That'd be nice.
Ooh, easy tiger, it's not that kind of stream. TOS
easy
and all
tiger. Hey.
So the tagline says ray tracing, almost no load times, and adaptive trigger support. Do you know the adaptive triggers are a little bit like pulling back on a crossbow?
No way.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. New details about the PlayStation 5 version of Resident Evil Village have been revealed. According to the game's product page on the PlayStation website, it will support 4K with HDR and ray tracing. Get that 4K TV, bib, as I'm saying.
I think we're going to do now. This is a clincher.
PS5's high-speed SSD will enable players to instantly pick up right where they're left off with almost no load times. The game will support PS5's 3D audio features as well as the DualSense controller's haptic feedback and adaptive triggers. Scheduled for release on next-gen consoles and PC in 2021, Resident Evil Village takes place several years after the events of Resident Evil 7 and retains a first-person perspective. Players once again take on the role of Ethan Winters, who's now living peacefully with his wife Mia, but their ordinary life is shattered by Chris Redfield, who helped Ethan in the previous game. Resident Evil Village will grant players a lot more freedom to choose how they overcome challenges than Resident Evil 7 did, according to director Morimasa Sato. We want players to experiment, to figure out things that work for them, he said in September. We want everyone to think of Resident Evil Village as a horror movie that you can play. See that last line? Yeah, boy. That does get my attention. That does get my attention. Okay, as someone that doesn't really have an opinion on Resident Evil, try put yourself into the shoes of someone that would play this series,
Okay.
Bib. Thoughts?
Right, so taking away the timeline will be quite difficult because you don't know the storyline going into this. So very, very briefly, we'll go back through Resident Evil 7. It was the fourth version of Resident Evil that is in first person. The first one in the main storyline that was going to be in first person. You play Ethan Winters, whose wife goes missing. You then go and find her. She's not the same. Shit happens. So then you move on. You escape. Done. This one then puts you into a village. You've fled. You've got Mia with you, and then Chris Redfield. He is the main character pretty much from the Resident Evil franchise. There's obviously 4 or 5 main characters, but he is one of the OGs. He was in the very first Resident Evil, alongside Jill Valentine. And I can say this because it was in the trailer. If you haven't seen the trailer, then go ahead and watch it after this one. But it turns up, Chris Redfield, and shoots Mia. So you are Ethan again in first person. You've already got the experience of going round and fighting shit that you didn't think was real in the first place. I'm not sure where this is going to go in terms of lore because there is werewolves and stuff like that that is knocking about. So interested to see where this direction goes. But like you say, the last line of this is something that I try to advertise to everyone who enjoys playing video games. It's a movie experience that you're going to play through. That is the biggest thing that you can take away from this. If you enjoy storyline games, especially horror ones, where you kind of you have that sense of fear that you don't know what's on the other side of the door. You're in a first person perspective, not like a third person one where you can see pretty much a really good field of view. If you're in first person, you have absolutely no idea what's going to be behind you. And if you played PT, you will know exactly what I mean by that. So yeah, a lot more freedom to choose how your scenarios play out. That excites me as well because obviously the last one you was in a house. A lot of narrow corridors. You kind of had one objective: go to this place, pick this up, use the key on that door, find what's inside it. There's another key, believe it or not. Go to another door, unlock that. So I like the way that this can play out. I imagine this map is going to be so much bigger because it's a village. So yeah, I don't want to say if this is going to be a very, very first Resident Evil, play this one, because if you are going through a main storyline stuff, obviously you'd want to start at either 0 or 1, whichever timeline you want to go through. But in terms of playing this particular storyline now, start at 7.